The sky above Veric 7 was red and full of smoke. The air smelled like fire and metal. Loud explosions had stopped, but the ground still shook sometimes. Pieces of broken ships and machines were everywhere. Bodies, both human and alien, lay silent on the cracked ground. It had been a big battle. Both sides had lost. Ethan Brooks opened his eyes slowly. His head hurt and dust covered his face. He pushed a heavy metal piece off his leg and looked around. His ship was gone. His squad was gone. The radio on his arm made no sound. He was alone. Alone on a death world. Not far from him, Carla Monroe sat against a broken wall. Her short brown hair was dirty and stuck to her face. One arm was bleeding, but she had wrapped it with part of her jacket. She had seen the others run during the retreat. She had called for help, but no one came. Now she was stuck here to Doc. Carla saw Ethan walking and called his name. He turned, surprised to see another human. He ran over and helped her stand. "You're okay?" he asked. "Not really," she said with a weak smile, "but I'm still breathing." They moved away from the crash site. The smoke was thick and strange animal. Sounds came from the jungle nearby. The trees were tall and twisted. The air was hot and heavy. Everything about the planet felt dangerous. On the other side of the battlefield, 3 Threxians had also survived. Commander Jorek stood tall, even with a deep cut on his leg. His skin was dark grey, and his armor was scratched and burned. With him were Enforcer Velton, strong and silent, and Memedic Risha, who was already checking a scanner. "The others left us," Jorak said. His voice was cold. "We must find shelter," Risha said. "This place is full of danger. We need to move." The Threxians walked away from the wreckage, staying close and quiet. Their sensors showed high signs of predators nearby. The planet was alive, but not in a good way. Ethan and Carla found a small cave in the rocks. It was dark, but dry. They decided to rest there for the night. Ethan started a small fire using his emergency kit. "We need to find a way out of here," Carla said. "No signal," Ethan said, looking at his radio. "And no rescue. We're on our own." They sat in silence. Outside, something growled. Something big, far. Away, the Threxians made camp near a group of sharp stone spikes. Risha treated Jorek's wound while Velton set traps. The alien soldiers had fought humans for years. They didn't trust them, but now they had no army, no orders, and no safe place to go. The next morning, Ethan and Carla went out to look for food and water. They moved carefully, knowing that the forest was full of creatures. They used hand signals and short words. After an hour, they found a small stream. They drank, filled bottles, and started to head back. That's when they saw the Threxians. Saw them first. His hand went to his weapon. Ethan raised his gun too. Both groups stood still. No one moved. The air felt thick with tension. "Back away," Ethan said. "This area is ours," Jorak replied. Carla looked at Risha. The medic did not look angry. She looked tired. Carla lowered her gun first. "We don't want to fight," she said. "We just want to survive." Velton stepped forward. "Then stay out of our way." A loud roar broke the silence. From the trees, a huge beast jumped out. It had 6 legs, sharp teeth, and glowing eyes. The humans and Threxians forgot each other and ran. The creature chased them, but soon lost interest. It wandered off into the woods, leaving behind broken branches and claw marks. Ethan and Carla hid behind rocks, breathing hard. They looked over at the Threxians. Jorak looked back. No one said anything. Slowly, both sides went their separate ways. Back in the cave, Ethan spoke. That thing didn't care if we were human or Threxian. It just wanted to eat. Yeah, Carla said. Maybe fighting each other isn't the biggest problem right now. Jorak said the same thing to his team. These humans aren't our mission anymore. Survival is planet is trying to kill us. We need to think. Risha nodded. We will need more supplies. Maybe we don't fight them again. Not now. That night, both camps stayed awake longer. Fires burned low. Eyes watched the darkness. The war had not ended, but something had changed. A new enemy had appeared, this deadly planet, and it did not care about old hatred. It only wanted to survive. And now, so did they, the next morning. On Verex 7 was hot and silent. Strange birds flew across the sky, their cries loud and sharp. Carla Monroe sat by the cave entrance, watching the trees. Her arms still hurt, but she tried not to show it. Ethan Brooks came back from checking traps. He had caught nothing. No food, Ethan said. Nothing even touched the bait. This place feels like it's watching us, Carla said. It probably is. He replied, everything here wants to eat us, or worse. They shared one food tablet and some water. It was not enough, but they didn't complain. Both of them had seen worse in battle. Far away, the Threxians were also having a hard morning. Jorak stood on a rock, scanning the horizon. Velton sharpened a long metal spear, while Risha studied the strange red moss growing near their shelter. This moss is dangerous, Risha said. It burns skin and poisons wounds. We need to avoid it. Good, Jorak said. One more thing trying to kill us. They had only a few rations left. Their weapons were damaged. Their radio was broken. Still, Jorak refused to give up. Later that day, the humans and Threxians met again. This time, near a patch of blue water. Both groups needed water. Both wanted it. And both had weapons. Ethan held up his hand. We don't want trouble, just water. Jorak narrowed his eyes. This area is ours. Carla stepped forward. Do we really need to fight over water? This planet wants us dead. Why help it? Velton pointed his spear. You are our enemy. Ethan didn't move. That may be true. But the planet is a bigger enemy. Did you hear that thing last night? The one that screamed for hours. We're all just food here. The Threxians looked at each other. Risha said softly, let them fill their bottles. Jorak nodded once. 10 minutes. Then you go. Ethan and Carla moved quickly, thankful but careful. They filled their bottles and backed away slowly. No one smiled, no one relaxed, but no one died either. That night, the planet showed its true face. Strange lights moved across the sky. The ground shook again. Far off in the jungle, a deep roar echoed through the trees. The sound made both human and Threxian camps go quiet. Carla leaned close to Ethan. We need a plan. We can't just sit here. I agree, Ethan said. But what kind of plan? She thought for a moment. We can watch them. See where they get food. Maybe we trade. Maybe ... something more. You want to work with them? Ethan asked. Not trust, just survive. For now, at the same time, Risha was speaking with joy. We must look for clean food. Our packs are almost empty. If the humans have food, maybe we can trade. Jorak frowned. You want to share with them? No, but I want to live. If that means talking to a human, I'll do it. Jorak said nothing. For a while, then he nodded. The next morning, the two groups met again. This time, it was Ethan who spoke first. We have food tablets. Not many. You have shelter. Maybe we help each other. Jorak crossed his arms. You expect us to trust you? Carlos stepped in. No. Just not kill us. Not yet. Risha came forward. She handed over a small scanner. Take this. It finds safe water. You give us some food. Ethan looked at the scanner, then at Carla. She nodded. Deal. The trade was simple, but it changed everything. That night, both camps ate real food. They drank clean water. No one smiled, but no one pointed weapons either. It was not peace, but it was something. Later, a strong wind started. A storm rolled in from the west. It came fast. Too fast. Rain hit the ground like bullets. Trees bent and snapped. Lightning lit up the sky. Carla's shelter started to fall apart. The roof caved in. Help, she shouted. Velton heard her cry. Without thinking, he ran through the storm and pulled the roof off. Carla looked at him, shocked. He didn't speak. He just helped her rebuild the cover using metal sheets. Ethan arrived, soaked and breathless. He stared at Velton. Why did you help her? Velton looked at him. You are not my enemy tonight. The storm is. After the storm passed, both camps sat by weak fires. The wind had taken half their supplies, but something else had changed. Jorak looked at Ethan. We are not friends, but we are not trying to kill each other. Ethan nodded. That's good enough. Carla gave Risha a roll of cloth bandages. Risha handed over dried leaves that could clean wounds. It was a quiet moment, but it mattered. In the middle of a death world, two sides who once tried to kill each other now sat under the same sky. They didn't trust each other yet, but they didn't hate each other as much either. And that was the first small step towards something neither side had expected. Survival, not through weapons, but through working together. The sun rose over Verix 7, casting a dull orange light over the jungle. The air was thick with heat and buzzing insects. Ethan Brooks wiped sweat from his face as he stepped out of the cave. He saw Carla Monroe already awake, checking her gear. Sleep much? Ethan asked. Not really, Carla said. Something kept growling nearby, sounded big. They had barely slept. Strange noises had filled the night. The death world was always moving, always hunting. Later that morning, Ethan and Carla saw the Threxians again. Jorak and Velton were cutting branches with long knives. Risha was picking fruit from a twisted tree. Ethan whispered, Should we say something? Maybe we should just watch, Carla said. But it was Risha who spoke first. This fruit is safe. We tested it. If you want some, take it. Ethan nodded and walked over slowly. He kept his hands open, showing he carried no weapon. Carla followed. Thanks, Ethan said. He picked a few of the fruits and looked at Risha. What's it called? No name, she replied. We just call it red bite. Eat slowly. It's sweet, but strong. Carla took a bite and smiled. Tastes better than food tablets. Velton watched them carefully, but did not stop them. Over the next few days, the humans and Threxians kept meeting. They shared food, tools, and even stories. Not deep ones, but simple ones about home, training, or strange things they had seen. It helped pass the time. One night, as a light rain fell, the two groups sat near their separate fires. The fires were close enough that they could talk. Ethan looked at Jorok. "Why did your people attack Earth?" Jorok looked into the fire. "Orders, that's all." Carla added, "Do you believe in the war?" Jorok didn't answer for a long time. Then he said, "I believed in duty, but now... I don't know." Velton stood and walked away. The subject was too much. Risha asked, "Why do humans fight so hard? You're small, weak, compared to many, but you never stop." Ethan smiled, "Because we always believe we can win, or at least survive." Carla added, "And we don't like bullies." Risha gave a small nod. She understood. Later that night, a loud sound broke the quiet. A deep growl, followed by heavy steps. Everyone grabbed weapons and looked into the dark trees. A massive creature came out. It had a long tail, sharp claws, and eyes that glowed like fire. It moved slowly, sniffing the air. Ethan shouted, "Run!" But no one ran. There was nowhere to go. The creature was too fast. Rack threw a spear. It hit the creature's side, but it barely noticed. It charged. Ethan fired his weapon. Carla threw a flash grenade. The light blinded the creature for a moment. Velton leaped onto its back, stabbing hard. It was a long fight. The creature hit Carla with its tail, throwing her to the ground. Ethan ran to her side, pulling her to safety. Risha used her medical kit to slow the bleeding. Jorok and Velton kept attacking the beast until it finally gave a last roar and fell. Everyone was silent. Then Risha said, "She needs help. I need clean tools." Ethan nodded. "Take anything from our pack." Risha worked quickly, cleaning Carla's wound and wrapping it tight. After the danger passed, the two groups sat together under the trees. No one wanted to go back to separate camps, not after what they had just faced. Ethan looked at Jorok. "We can't keep doing this alone. That thing would have killed us if we hadn't worked together." Jorok didn't argue. He looked tired, agreed. "Maybe it's time to stop pretending we're still enemies." Velton said nothing, but he didn't walk away. The next day, they built one big shelter together. Carla gave directions while Risha checked the ground for poison moss. Ethan and Jorok worked side by side, using pieces from their crashed ships. To make a strong roof, they made a fire pit in the center and cooked red bite fruit over it. It wasn't much, but it felt like a meal. That night, they sat around the fire as one group. The stars above Verek 7 looked cold and far away, but the fire was warm. Carla looked at the group. "Maybe we're not friends yet, but we're not just survivors anymore. We're a team." Risha nodded. "Strange team, but yes." Jorok looked up at the stars. "Maybe we were meant to meet like this, not in war, but in survival." And for the first time since the crash, Ethan felt a little hope. He said quietly, "Let's survive together, one day at a time." Everyone agreed. On a death world full of danger, they had found something stronger than hate. Not peace, not friendship yet, but something real, something that might last. The new shelter was not perfect, but it was strong. Made from metal parts and jungle wood, it had space for everyone. There was one fire in the middle and sleeping spots around it. For the first time since the crash, both humans and Threxians had a safe place to sleep together. Ethan sat by the fire, turning a stick in his hand. The heat felt good after a long day of hard work. Carla sat beside him, her arm now healing. Risha had checked the wound earlier and said it was getting better. Rack, Velton, and Risha sat across the fire. Velton was sharpening his blade. Risha was writing notes in a small datapad. Jorak was quiet, watching the fire. "Tomorrow we should hunt," Ethan said. "Food is running low again." Jorok gave a short nod. We hunt together the next morning. The group split into 2 teams. Ethan, Carla, and Velton went east. Jorak and Risha went west. The jungle was thick and full of strange sounds. Birds with sharp beaks flew between trees. Insects the size of hands crawled on the ground. The team moved slowly, looking for tracks or signs of food. Velton suddenly raised his hand. He had found a trail. They followed it and soon saw a creature that looked like a deer, but with scales and long ears. Carla aimed her weapon, but the wind changed. The creature ran. "We need to be faster," Ethan said. They kept moving. After another hour, they found a small group of the same animals near a waterhole. This time, they were quiet. Velton crept close and threw his spear. It hit. The creature screamed and fell. The others ran. Velton smiled for the first time. Food tonight. They dragged the animal back to the shelter. Jorak and Risha returned soon after with fruit and roots. That night, they cooked meat over the fire. The smell was strong but good. As they ate, Carla looked at Velton. "You move like a hunter, fast and quiet." Velton nodded. "Before war, I was a game runner. I hunted with my family." Ethan looked surprised. "You had a normal life before the army, yes. I was not always a soldier." Carla smiled. "Me too. I was a builder. I used to fix homes back on Earth." Risha said, "I worked in a healing center before the war. I liked helping people." The fire crackled. The air grew quiet. They were no longer just thinking about survival. They were starting to talk like people again. Like friends. Later that night, Carla could not sleep. She stepped outside and looked at the stars. The sky was clear, full of bright points of light. She heard soft footsteps behind her. Velton stood there. He looked at the stars too. "Do your people have names for them?" Carla asked. "Yes," Velton said. He pointed. "That one is called the Eye of the Queen. That one is the Hunter's Circle." Carla pointed at another. "That's Orion, and that's the North Star." They stood together for a while, just watching. "Why did you help me during the storm?" Carla asked. Velton looked at her. "Because you were in danger, and because you remind me of someone. My sister, she died in the war." Carla said nothing. She just placed a hand on his shoulder. The next day, they explored a new area of the jungle. Jorak found strange marks on the ground metal pieces, broken wires, and symbols in Threxian script. "This was a Threxian outpost," Jorak said. "Old, abandoned." Ethan stepped inside a broken building. Dust covered everything. "Looks like it. Was left in a hurry." Risha found a power unit still working. "If we fix this, maybe we can send a signal." Jorak looked uneasy. "We must be careful." Some outposts were used for dark work. They explored more. One room had glass containers with strange creatures inside. Notes in Threxian showed they were studying the planet's life forms. Some notes spoke of experiments. Carla frowned. "This is why the planet is so dangerous. Your people changed it." Jorak looked ashamed. "Not me, not my team. But others, yes. They made monsters." Ethan put a hand on his shoulder. "You're not them. You're here, helping us." Back at the shelter, they talked about what to do next. Risha said she could repair the beacon, but it would take days. "What if someone bad hears it?" Carla asked. "Then we fight," Jorok said. But we also hope, they agreed. Hope was better than silence. As they sat by the fire that night, eating the last of the cooked meat, Ethan looked around. We've come a long way. We used to point guns at each other. Now we're telling stories. Carla laughed. Maybe the death world isn't the worst thing to happen. Velton added, it made us stop fighting. Risha smiled. It made us human, even us Threxians. Jorok raised a cup of water, to survival, to peace. They all raised their cups. For one moment, the war felt far away. And something new, something better, began to grow in its place. 3 days passed since they found the old Threxian outpost. The group worked together to repair the small power unit. Risha spent hours checking every wire. Carla helped her build a frame to hold the beacon steady. It was slow work, but they made progress. Ethan and Jorok stood guard during the day. Velton hunted and brought back a strange bird with blue feathers. The team shared everything they had. Trust was growing. We'll finish the beacon tomorrow, Risha said one night. Then we can send a signal. Do you think someone will answer? Carla asked. I don't know, Ethan said. But we have to try. Jorok looked at the sky. Not all ships out there are friendly. If Threxian warships come, they won't care that we're allies now. Then we hide the humans, Velton said simply. We protect them. Carla looked at him, surprised. Velton had changed. He still looked strong and serious, but now there was care in his voice. The next morning, they activated the beacon. A low hum filled the air. A soft light blinked on and off. The signal was weak, but it worked. Risha watched the screen. The message is going out. We just have to wait. They returned to the shelter and prepared for anything. Jorok helped Ethan make traps around the area. Carla checked her weapon and cleaned it. Velton climbed a tree to watch the sky. On the second day, a message came. Resha's eyes widened. A ship received our signal. Everyone gathered around. It's not Threxian or human. It's a science ship. Independent, they're a neutral team. They say they can land in 5 days. Cheers broke out. For the first time, they felt hope. Rescue was near, but their joy did not last. That night, Velton saw lights in the sky. Not from the science ship. These lights were cold and sharp, Threxian. Patrol ships. He climbed down fast. We have company. Military, not friendly. Jorok looked serious. If they find us, they will take us. Maybe kill the humans. Ethan nodded. We need a plan. They hid the beacon and moved their shelter deeper into the jungle. The new camp was smaller but hidden. They erased tracks, covered their tools, and stayed low. 2 days later, the Threxian patrol landed. A group of soldiers marched through the trees. They wore clean armor and moved fast. Jorok, Ethan, Carla, Velton, and Risha watched from a hill. They're searching, Risha whispered. They know someone is here. Jorok's face was dark. They are not here to help. They are here to clean up. Ethan clenched his fists. They'll kill us all. We have to stop them. If we attack, we die, Carla said. But if we do nothing, we die too, Velton added. Jorok stood. We don't attack. We distract. We give the science ship time to land. That night, they set the plan. Jorok and Velton would lead the patrol away. Ethan and Carla would protect the beacon. Risha would stay close to the signal, ready to guide the science team when they arrived. The next day, the plan began. Jorok and Velton left signs for the patrol to find. Broken branches, false camps, and heat signals from their gear. The soldiers followed Jor, Rack, and Velton, led them far from the real camp. It was dangerous. One time, they had to fight a patrol scout. Jorak used a blade, Velton used his hands. It was fast and brutal. They are getting close, Jorak said. We need to lead them farther. Velton nodded. We go to the Black Cliffs. It's a long way, but safe for the others. Meanwhile, Ethan stayed hidden with Carla. They watched the sky every hour. Carla whispered, "Do you think Jorak and Velton will make it back?" Ethan looked at her. They'll try, they're fighters. But they're also more than that now. They're our friends. Carla smiled. It was a tired smile, but real. 3 days passed. No word from Jorak or Velton. Then the sky opened. A sleek white ship came down slowly, landing near the old outpost. The science team had arrived. Risha ran to them, waving a clean cloth. The ship opened, and peaceful-looking people stepped out. They wore no weapons, only suits and scanners. Ethan and Carla joined them. The scientists were shocked to see and humans together. What happened here? One asked. A war, Ethan said. Then survival. Then something better. They helped Risha load the gear. The humans gave reports. The scientists listened and nodded then. Just before the last supplies were packed, Jorak and Veltan returned. Tired, hurt, but alive. Carla ran to Veltan. Ethan helped Jorak sit. We did it, Veltan said. They didn't follow. You are safe. Risha cleaned their wounds. The scientists prepared for takeoff. Before leaving, Jorak walked to Ethan. I never thought I would fight to protect a human, but now I would again. Ethan smiled, and I'd fight for you. They shook hands. Real respect, real friendship. As the ship lifted off, the death world below grew smaller. The jungle, the danger. The Warrit was behind them now. What was ahead, no one knew. But something had changed. Hate had faded. In its place stood something stronger. Honor, loyalty, and a hope that one day their people would understand. Together, they had done more than survive. They had become more than enemies. They had become something new. Asterisk, the science ship moved through space, quiet and smooth. Inside, Ethan, Carla, Jorak, Velton, and Risha sat in a small room. They were still tired, still healing, but they were safe. One of the human scientists, Dr. Helen Brooks, came into the room. She carried a tablet and wore a kind face. We've sent your story to both human and Threxian leaders, she said. They need to hear it. They need to see that you survived together. Ethan nodded. That's all we want. Just for someone to understand. Dr. Helen gave a small smile. Some will, some won't. But your story is powerful. It may change something. Velton sat back. We did not start as friends. We were enemies. Not anymore, Carla said. The ship reached a large space station in neutral space. It was a floating city, full of life from many planets. The team stepped out and looked around in wonder. Humans and aliens walked side by side. Machines hummed. Lights glowed soft and bright. They were given rooms and fresh clothes. For the first time in weeks, they slept in real beds. But peace did not last long. The next day, the leaders of a Threxian battlecruiser arrived at the station. They had seen the message. They wanted to take Jorak, Velton, and Risha back for questioning. Dr. Helen met with them. She asked Jorak to come speak for himself. Jorak stood in front of the Threxian commander. The room was full of officials, human and Threxian. "You disobeyed orders," the commander said. "You helped humans. You are a traitor." Jorak did not look away. "I followed a higher duty. I protected life. I saw truth. The war is wrong. We do not understand humans. We only fear them." "That is not strength." The commander's eyes narrowed. "You will come back and face judgment." Jorak turned to the human leaders. "I ask for safe haven, for myself and for my team. Not because we fear punishment, but because we want peace." Carla stood up. "We were enemies, but we lived, fought, and bled together. That should mean something." Velton stepped forward. "We are not traitors. We are proof that hate can end." The room was silent. Then a human general said, "Let them stay. Let their story be heard." The Threxian commander left the room without a word. That night, the group sat by a large window on the station. Stars shone outside. Ships moved like fireflies in the dark. "Do you think this will last?" Carla asked. "Not yet," Ethan said. "But it's a start." Dr. Helen joined them. She had good news. "A group of humans and Threxians are asking to speak with you, young soldiers, students, teachers. They want to hear what happened." Risha smiled. "Then let's tell them all of it." Over the next few days, they spoke to many. They told their story again and again. People listened. Some asked hard questions. Some were angry, but many were hopeful. One boy asked Jorak, "Why did you stop fighting?" Jorak said, "Because fighting did not help us survive, but working together did." A young girl asked Carla, "Were you scared?" "Yes," Carla said, "but I was more scared of being alone. I needed help, and I found it in someone I once called an enemy." Ethan shared photos from the planet, the broken trees, the strange animals, the beacon, the shelter, the fire where they all sat together. Each photo told a piece of the truth. Soon, news of their story spread. Videos, interviews, reports, they went everywhere. Some people laughed. Some called it fake, but others believed. Peace talks began. Small ones, private ones, but they started. Jorak and Velton were offered places in a new peace mission. Risha was invited to speak at medical conferences. Carla and Ethan were asked to train young soldiers, not for war, but for survival and peace. One day, as they sat in the station garden, Carla said, "It's strange. We were left behind. But now we're leading something new." Velton nodded. "The death world gave us something we didn't expect, a chance." Jorak looked at the stars. "I thought we would die there, but instead we found life." Ethan smiled. "And maybe, just maybe, we found something worth living for." The stars above still burned cold and distant, but below them, on that floating station in space, something warm had begun. A bond, a hope, a story that would never be forgotten. The war was not over, but the hate was no longer alone. Something stronger had taken root, and it all began when enemies were left behind and chose to become something more.